An assignment, you guys are going to develop an athletic training room. Okay? I want you guys to design an athletic training facility. And it's not moving again. Cool. Oh, great. So you guys are going to design an athletic training facility. Okay? I am going to give you guys a budget to fill that room with things that are important that we will talk about in a minute. Okay? What are some things that you guys think would be important to have in an athletic training room? Taping tables, treatment tables, modalities, E-stim, ultrasound, stuff like that. That would be important. Yes, your tape. Okay? So I will give you guys a budget. It's not going to be a very big budget. Might be $10,000, $15,000. And you guys are going to have to figure out how to design it or how to fill it within that budget and not go over budget. Okay? I don't care what I don't care how big your athletic training room is. Okay? So I'm not worried about you designing a facility within the budget. I want you to design the facility, and then that's when your budget comes into play on filling it. Okay? So, budget concerns, how big is your budget? Okay? What equipment and supplies are needed for the athletic training room? So what setting are you in? For this sake, we're all going to be in a college setting. We're all going to be in a college setting for this sake. And then you need to prioritize what's important to you. Okay? So, we have supplies. Okay? Our supplies are expendable. Okay? What I mean by expendable would be like our first aid and injury prevention supplies. So things that we buy every year. That's an expendable budget. Okay? And then we have a non-expendable budget. Those are reusable supplies. So like our ACE wraps, our scissors, our tables. Okay? We're not buying tables every year. We buy tables once and they last for a while. Okay? We don't buy stim every year because we buy it once and it lasts for a while. Okay? So figure out what expendable supplies you're going to need. Figure out what non-expendable supplies you need. Okay? Figure that stuff out. So, your equipment would be things and items that you would use on a yearly basis. That can be used for a number of years. So again, that would be tables, stim, ultrasound, cold tubs, stuff like that. Stuff you can use on a year round and for a number of years. Okay? Capital. Okay? Capital is what remains in the athletic training facility, including ice machines and tables. So we talked about it's a non-expendable item. It's a capital item. So we can talk about it as it being a capital item. Because it's things you buy once, you shouldn't have to buy again for several years. Okay? And then consumable capital, or non-consumable capital, would be crutches, coolers, athletic training kits, stuff like that. Okay? So, how do we purchase? With athletic training supplies, and I'll help you guys out with this because I want you guys to, you guys don't necessarily need to get on and Google everything. No, you can get on and you can Google, treatment tables, all that stuff. I also have catalogs that you can look at, that you guys can come down and you can look at things as well. Okay, and I'll tell you at the end of class the different suppliers that we use or you can use that you can look for different things. Okay, so different ways you can buy. You can direct buy. Okay, so you can buy directly from Henry Schein or Medco or wherever it might be, or you can do a competitive bidding. So that would be, I get a bid from Henry Schein, I get a bid from Medco, I get a bid from Kramer, and I get a bid from Collins Health, and then I see who's got the best bid, And I may say, I want to order all my stuff from Henry Schein, but their supplies, their tape is cheaper. So I'm going to call up or I may email Henry Schein and say, hey, I really want to order from you guys. I've been ordering from you guys for years, but Collins Sports Medicine is cheaper. So can you guys match that so that I can order from you guys? So that's the competitive bid, okay? And then, our additional budget considerations that we need to look at, telephone. We don't necessarily need telephones. We got cell phones, okay? It's still a good idea to have office phones, but phones, utilities, heating, cooling, electricity, you guys don't need to worry about that when we do this budget. It's only filling the room, okay? And then the contracts that you use for outside services, okay? So these would be an additional budget consideration. Things that I'm not going to have you guys worry about right now, okay? We all develop a risk management plan. Risk management plans would be how, in an emergency situation, how we're going to handle things, okay? How we'll handle things. Security issues, fire safety, we need to figure out the evacuation plan, make sure we have smoke detectors in place, stuff like that, okay? So, emergency action plan or EAP, okay? I think you guys read about this already. So, EAP, basically designing an emergency action plan for the athletic training room. You're designing an EAP for every facility that we use, okay? It's assessing emergency personnel in the settings in the event of emergency. So, if we're at the football field, we're developing the EAP for the football field based on the personnel that we have there, okay? And then we need to figure out what we're going to do. So we need to include transportation of the athletes to the emergency facility. So if I need to call 911, I've activated our EAP, okay? And then we also need to put in there the addresses to the facility, okay? Meeting with outside personnel is necessary to determine roles and rules regarding athlete and equipment care. Okay, so you can't, now we're in a small town, so everybody knows where the football stadium is at. If you call 911, everybody knows where the football stadium is at. But you're in a town, let's say you're in a town, nobody knows where the football stadium is at. Okay, or you have somebody who's new to 911 or EMS. So you need to explain to them how to get to the football stadium, where to drive, where I'm going to meet you. And where myself, as an athletic trainer, is going to meet you. Okay? So that's EAP. So, when you design your facility, you need to determine the size that you want, and you need to use your space effectively. You need to use your space effectively. Okay? Make sure things are spaced out the way you want it. It's important when you're designing a facility to interact with an architect, consult an architect, to figure out the needs of the facility. Okay. Figure out location. You want an outside entrance. Okay. An outside entrance is very important to have. So you would want an outside entrance. Double door entrances are usually ideal. Why would double door entrances and ramps be ideal? Emergencies, injured athletes, can't come up the stairs. Our athletic training room isn't necessarily ideal, okay? But it's what we have, okay? Proximity of locker rooms, okay? What's the light and the heat situation in the athletic training room? Okay, so here's kind of an example of a floor plan, of an athletic training plan, room, okay? So you can see it's very, very spaced out. Okay, everything's spaced out. You got taping on one side, you got treatment tables, ultrasound, and they're all kind of divided in their own little sections. Okay? This would be ideal. This is ideal. Not everybody's going to have that. Okay? Here's another one, a little smaller size. Okay? Again, when you guys develop your own, you'll have these you can pull up online to see, or pull up on the PowerPoint to look at. Okay? You got to make sure the athletic room is well lit throughout the whole entire room. Why would you want it well lit? Why would it be important to have a well lit athletic room? So you can see what you're doing. You can see better. You don't want to have an athletic training room that's got dull light, right? A lot of facilities now have white light instead of that yellow incandescent light or whatever, okay? All right, determine your hydrotherapy room, your rehab, your taping, and then a lot of places, an exam room for physicians, offices for athletic training staff, for certifieds. Offices are important. Storage. You guys know we don't have very much storage. Okay, so storage is important. Storage is important to have, and you guys can see why when we put our stuff away. We don't have a place to put everything. Okay? Athletic training offices. Space needs to be at least 10 by 10. That's a good space for an athletic trainer, okay, to have as an office. All areas in the athletic training facility should allow for supervision. Okay, like we talked about, you guys have to be supervised. So, putting a window in your office to see out in the athletic training room is a very important thing, so that you can be under supervision. Okay. Additional things that you might want in an athletic training room, I'll let you guys kind of look at that when I open PowerPoint. Other considerations, special service areas, treatment areas, electrotherapy areas. So again, dividing things up into their own little sections is important, or can be important, okay? What are ATs responsible for? We're about done. So what are ATs responsible for? Medical records. Okay, we're responsible for keeping our medical records. Do you guys remember in the reading how long we have to keep them for? What was it? 7 years. Okay, it's called what? Statute of limitations. Okay, once that expires, we can get rid of it. Okay, because that's how long we need to keep those records. So if somebody in 5 years wants to come back and say, "Hey, I need records from Butler," we have them. But if they're over 7 or 8, we're not going to have them. We'll get rid of them. Okay? So we keep our medical records, our injury notes, rehab notes, progress notes, and then any release of medical records that have been signed, we keep those. Okay, we talked about HIPAA. Tell me what HIPAA is again.
Insurance.
Okay, it's patient confidentiality. So it's Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Okay? All right. No, Health Information Privacy and Portability Act. Okay? Then FERPA. You guys know what FERPA is? That is the educational side. Okay, that's the educational side. We cannot disclose your grade in this class. I can't just go off and say, "Oh, you know what? So-and-so has an F in the class." I can't go disclose that information. That's illegal. Okay? All right, so doctor stations. They do, as far as physicals are concerned. The best way to do physicals are